Hi, Linda Sessions here, and we are in week 4 of computer applications. So last week in week 3 we finished up in Excel, so you should have gotten all those, I think there's 3 assignments last week and a quiz, and you will have one more Excel document you'll need to do. Some of the classes are doing the Dream Vacation, some are doing the school fundraiser. So check it out when we get to week 7. That'll be in a couple of weeks. But this week we are starting in Word. And Word is Microsoft Office Word program. It's a document. It's what you use if you're typing a letter, a research paper. A lot of people use it to make flyers. So here on my desktop, I have opened Word. Get rid of this document there. And you can see across the top I have my ribbon, and that is like the brains for Word. It is similar to Excel, but you notice that there are some new things here. Gone is formulas. Added is references. We'll be looking at the references in Chapter 2 here in just a bit. But you have your File tab. That's where you're going to be changing things. On the Info tab, that works the same way as it did in Excel. Save, Save As, that is all right there in the File tab. The Home tab is where you're going to find your most commonly used commands and options. You've got your font, paragraph, styles, editing, Adobe Acrobat if you are using that. Dictate if you're using Office 365, which I think most of you are. You should see the Dictate, and the Dictate is really kind of cool because with Dictate I can actually just type what I'm saying. So if I'm doing a paper or a letter or something for somebody, I can just click on Dictate, and it's going to be listening for English, and it's going to actually type in everything that I say. Mine is set to anticipate the punctuation, but you can actually still say you want punctuation, like insert comma or exclamation point, and it will put that punctuation in. It's very similar to when you are doing the voice messaging on your phones and making all of those little adjustments when you're doing that, period. It can come in very handy in your speech classes. If you are having to write a speech, this is a great way to write it out. Use your thoughts. You're thinking aloud, what do I want my speech to be? And you're just thinking, and it's like you're automatically making out this brain map on your paper with your different ideas. And sometimes if you're not a really good typist, then this is the way to go to do that type of a brain dump, if you will, to get the information out there. Now when you're ready to stop, just click on that up there or say pause dictation. Now I can go back in here, and I need to go back in here again and read it though, because some of it is might not hear the correct word. I'm on some medication right now that causes me to have extreme dry mouth, and that can interfere with my pronunciation. If you have a very strong accent, that can also interfere with how this AI-generated dictation program in Microsoft Word is hearing you. So you always want to go back and reread it, make changes to it. But this is your own work. This wasn't created by AI. It was typed by AI, but it's your work. You created it, and it's a great way to start and make changes. So if you have 365, you will see this. If we come back over here, we've got on the Insert tab, you've got a cover page. You're going to be doing the cover page next week. Blank page, page break, a table. Now, we're going to look real briefly at tables. Now, you'll be doing some tables if you're doing the fundraiser, having to do a table in. I go a little bit in more detail in that one. But to add a table, you just come up here to table, tell it how many you want, and now you can start typing your information in tab and adding the information into your table. Now once I have my table added, you can see I have a couple of new contextual tabs on my ribbon. I've got table design, table layout. So all of these, the table design, is going to change the way my table looks automatically. I can shade it different colors. I can change the border styles. I can add a first column. I can even add a total row. Table layout is where I can add table properties. Sometimes when you're doing things with accessibility, it'll say your table is missing properties, and that's where you can find that to add that information in there. This is where you're going to insert and delete cells or delete your table or your row. You can split cells, merge cells together if you have, auto fit them here, or you can tell them exactly how high or how wide you want them. Change the text direction. You can sort them from A to Z. And you can also take a table and you can take that table that already has information in it and you can convert that table back to text. So maybe you don't want it to be a table, but it is. So you can just select the table by selecting this little icon right here, and you can just come up here and say convert to text. And if there was any text in that table, it would automatically convert it to text. We don't get into any of the formulas with this class, but you can actually use formulas and different functions in the tables in the Word system as well, just like we did in Excel. Now going on the Insert tab, you see I still have my table design and table layout because I still have my table selected, but if I click off of that, they're gone. I won't see that table design and table layout option button unless I click in the table again. So I click out of it, it goes away. So here also under Insert you have pictures, you have shapes, icons, 3D models, kind of cool. You can have 3D models from this device, or there's stock 3D models on some of your classes. Say you have, let me see, find one. Biology. Okay, here's your skin cell. I'm going to insert that, and it's inserting this model. And see this little circle in the middle? Now, how do I want this model to appear? Do I mainly want to talk about the hairs? Or do I want to talk about the blood vessels, the epidermis? Okay, so you can change this around to see how you want it to look in your document. So it's really kind of cool. So that, and you can see when I have it selected, I have all of these different options with the 3D model. Clicking off of it, going back to Insert, I've got my Smart Art, which is just a way to visually communicate information. So if I want to, let's come down here, I'm going to go below the epidermis. If I want to say something about, we've got lunch being served, and we have dinner, and we have snacks, and we always eat breakfast in the evening. Okay, I can actually highlight that list. I could come up to Smart Art, and I could go to the list, and I could find different ways to present this information. that might make it look a little better. So here I'm going to do a vertical curved list. Say OK. So you can see here, I took this, I don't know where it took my text, usually it puts it right in there. So here I've got lunch, dinner, breakfast, and just a different way to present the material. Okay. And again, smart design, layout, all sorts of stuff you can do with it. You can add more shapes. You can change the layouts to something completely different. You can change the colors. And there's also different smart art styles you can use. So you can take just your basic information, type a list in, and it's going to make it look fancy for you. You let your readers digest the material in a more fascinating way. And as we all know, would you rather see just a paragraph of information, or would you like to have pictures or graphics to show it? You can do all that with Word. So as long as I have my Smart Art selected, I'm going to have my Smart Art design in my Format tab. The Format tab, again, is where I can change my shapes. You see I've got my different shapes here. Just go back to Insert. This is where you also can do your chart. You can actually link Excel, PowerPoint, and Word all together. We get into that. Talk a little bit about that in a couple of weeks. A link. And now a link is where we did this in Excel, where you had in the budget, you inserted the link for what you were buying, and you can do that in Word as well. It works the exact same way. Comments. If you want to add a comment to your document, it's really good, especially if you are working with a group of people to share comments. A header and a footer and a page number. A header is something that appears at the top of each page, and a footer appears at the bottom of each page. Page number, you can tell it exactly where you want the page number to be. At the top, at the bottom, at the middle. It's all pretty self-explanatory once you get into it. Word art, I'm going to be doing a little bit of that this week too. Word art is where you can take something and you can change it and make it look a little differently, just with the one-stop shop. So if I'm going to come down here and I'm going to type in my name, if I highlight it, I can come up here to Word Art and I can change it and make it look a little different. Okay. The other thing is, now that I've used Word Art, I've got my shape format here. Right here is all of my text. If I want to mess something with my text, if I want to change the text style, the text fill, if I want to make it dark, I've got text effects here. I can make it do a 3D rotation. Since I've got that Word Art there, it's not going to do much. Make it go up. There's lots of different stuff you can do with it, so just play around with it. You're not going to break it. If you don't like what it did, just hit the back key. Back arrow. As long as you haven't saved it, you can undo it. Have fun with it. Now, if I want to move this to a different part of my page, you can see it's not moving very well. I need to go to the format and I need to change the wrap text to square. And once I have it square, then I can move it. Just have to make sure I select on the right one. You see with this Smart Art, you can see I have a triangle, and then I have all three of these. But if I have select the outer edge, wrap text, square, now I can move it anywhere I want. The same with this epidermis. Right now I can't move it, but if I come up here to this little layout options box, and I can change it, the text wrapping, to square, now I can move it. Okay. So that text wrapping with square all makes a little bit of difference. Lots and lots and lots of stuff in Word. Make sure you pay attention to the details as you're working in Word. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm not going to save it. Here in week 4, you have your overview. This video will be there in a minute. You've got the Module 4 playlist. So here's the reading over Module 1, creating and modifying a flyer. Now in your reading, it's actually going to walk you through as if you are creating a Word document and making changes. Now, if I had my way, I would have you actually create the document that it talks about in this chapter. But there are a lot of things that it has you do, and it has you delete them before you submit them. And I had lots of students upset with me. You had me doing this step, but then you never had me submitting it. So how do you know I did it? I didn't. So then I changed it and I said, okay, I want you to work from page 1-1 up to 151. And now I want you to submit that. And then from 1-6, I want you to work to 1-6 AE. And that didn't work. So, how are you going to do it? I want you to come into this textbook because it's good. And I want you to look at it. And I want you to spend at least 15-20 minutes reviewing this textbook. And you can click on this arrow right here. It's going to talk about what you're going to be able to do as a result of looking through this chapter. And so if you want to make sure you know how to adjust the margins, check the spelling, save a document, format the text, undo and redo commands, insert and format a picture, add a page border, change those document properties, open and close a document, revise a document, copy and paste text, print a document, use Word help. All of that is right here in this textbook. Now remember, for this class, you're not going to be printing anything, but you do need to know how to print. Some of this stuff is brand new to you. Go ahead and go right to it. But remember where this stuff is, because when you're working on the assignment and you have questions, you can come back to the textbook. It talks about inserting and formatting a picture. Let's come here. Come back to my table of contents here, and let's find where it says formatting a picture, and let's find it. Click on it, and let's look at that area in the text. How long you stay and look in that textbook is obviously up to you, but there's a lot of information in this textbook, and it will help you be successful. You can leave this open as you're working on your class as well, or working on your assignment as well if you want. Now if I go back to the class, week 4 module, you see you have Sam into module 1, creating and modifying a flyer. Then you have the Chapter 2 researching a paper, and then you have the SAM end of Module 1 creating a research paper. These SAM projects work the same way the Excel SAM projects work. You're going to select the assignment, click here to open the content, and wait. I'm going to click on the Start button, and now on this one you have 3 files you need to download because you're going to need all 3 of these. You're going to follow the instructions, you're going to make changes to the starter file, and you're going to end up adding the support file. Once you're finished making the changes to all of your file, you're going to save your work here. You got to make sure you have this right name. If the name isn't correct, SAM isn't going to accept it. You have to submit your own work. Once you have the correct file submitted, you're going to submit for grade. You're going to have a graded report. Check it out. If you're not happy with your grade, open up that document that you just submitted. Resave it. Sometimes if I'm doing that, I will resave it and save it to a new location. Make the changes. Resave it, keeping it in the new location, and then resubmit that new file that I saved in the new location back to SAM for a higher grade. And you can do that 3 times. So here in this first one, you're going to be taking a document and you are going to be making some changes to it to make it look like this, the safety training workshops. Where I see people getting into problems with this is they try to work too fast. They don't read the entire instruction. They put the border around the shape instead of around the picture. They highlight the text instead of the paragraph in this document. They change all of the text to a different color instead of just changing the color in the bullet point list. So just pay attention. There is a YouTube video where I complete this training. I am going to be redoing it because it talks about Blackboard in that training, and I'm going to be redoing that. But it is the same workshop. It's the same safety training workshop document you see right here. The second one talks about these will shut here. The second one talks about the would have helped if I hadn't shut the whole class. Sorry. The second one talks about the research paper. Now, don't go crazy. You're not going to write a research paper. What it is in Chapter 2, it's going to talk a lot about the research paper. How do you add a cover page? How do you add a bibliography? What are all the details that are involved? What is an MLA format, an APA format? So again, take the time, look over and read through that chapter because it's going to help you as you come back and work on this assignment. You can see here you're going to have this starter file, and that starter file, you need to enable editing, and you're going to take this document and you're going to format it. When you're finished formatting it, according to these instructions, it's going to look like this. Do not just come to these last 3 pages in your instructions and start making changes. You need to go through the instructions step by step. Pay attention to what it says. Right here it has you change to an MLA style. If you don't change that, you're going to have trouble doing stuff. Okay, so make sure that you just follow the instructions as they're written. When you are entering in your citation information, all of your citation information is located right here in the instructions. So you can see it's going to have you enter a website, the author. Where I see students mess up this is they add information. They put tech goes to Hollywood, or they misspell something down here, or they miss something and don't add something. They get in a hurry and they don't enter this information incorrectly. And so they get counted off for all of it. Make sure that you pay attention to what you're doing. Now, for those of you who are using a Mac, there are some tips and some hints to go along with your Mac computer. Now, if you're using a Chromebook, I'm not sure how much of this you can do, if any. When you get finished with it, you're going to submit it there in Blackboard, just like you did with Project 1. Submit for grading, and then you can make changes as you need to. The last assignment here is the All About Me poster. Now, on this All About Me poster, click on this right here, you are going to be taking a blank Word document and you are going to be writing information about you. You're going to change the page orientation. You're going to format some pictures, some text boxes. I want you to move some stuff around. So you're going to have to change out wrap text to square so you can move those boxes around. See, here's one I did. This is a text box that I used, and this is just one of the fancy text boxes, and all I did was just add my own saying in there. Just a beautiful sunset on the Flit Hills. I actually took that picture. You got my name right there in word art, and again, remember where I showed you had to wrap text? As soon as you hit that wrap text, then you can actually drag this stuff around. Now, these two here are shapes, and when you enter shapes, this can be kind of fun here. If I go to Insert and Shapes, they've got some that they call callouts. So if you want to make it look like somebody's thinking, I've got this little call out right here. If I've got a little yellow dot or little yellow diamond, then you can actually move it so you can make it go anywhere you want to where that looks like somebody's talking. And to type in a shape, you're just going to start typing. And if you want to make your text or font larger, just put an exclamation point. If you want to make it larger or a different color, you can highlight it. You've got this little toolbar that pops up here. You can change it, make it bigger, change the font. You can also highlight it and come over here to the Home tab, or you can come over here to the Word Art Styles and change it. You want to make it large enough so the reader can read it. If you don't like that color, you can come over here and you can change the color. So there's lots of different stuff you can do with the shapes. Don't be afraid to change the shapes. When you're finished with that, you're going to have all these different shapes and stuff on there. You got your pictures, some sayings. Yep, there's a rubric. Make sure that you do something about you and just have fun with it. Finally, the last assignment is a quiz over Word 1 and 2. So all of these assignments are due September 14th at 11:59 p.m. So make sure you get them all turned in on time. Reach out if you have questions. Have a great week learning about how to use Microsoft Word. Bye.